YouTube doesn't trust you yet, but here is how to earn it. So typically when you start a new YouTube channel, no one's watching. The reason I know this is I've started the channel, my first channel about 5 or 6 months ago, and I started this channel 2 months ago. And I can tell you without a doubt, 9 times out of 10, nobody is watching at the start. And that's normal, it's totally cool. You're not alone. The reason this is quite simple. So YouTube is a business and they essentially need proof that your content is going to hold viewers on the platform. So YouTube's whole business model is they mainly earn revenue from advertisers. So they need people to stay on the YouTube platform. They need people to consume videos and content on the platform for as long as possible so they can serve multiple ads, and that is how they make money. It's a business, okay? So first of all, if you want to understand how to earn YouTube's trust, we have to understand the fundamentals of YouTube is that it's a business, okay? So what we need to do is we need to give YouTube what it wants. And what it wants is trust. It wants certainty. It wants to know that it understands your content. It understands who your content is for. And it has a high certainty that when you upload a video and it puts your video in front of other people, they are going to stay, they're going to watch your video, they're going to, watch the ads, and they're going to continue to stay on the platform. They're not going to have a bad experience and bounce. They're going to then binge watch another piece of your content, or maybe they'll watch another person's video as well because they've had a good experience watching your video. So YouTube doesn't trust you yet because they've got no data on you. They've got no data on your channel. There's no track record. And you might think that by posting like your first 10 videos or your first 20 videos or 50 videos that by then YouTube's going to trust you, but that isn't necessarily always the case. And there's no black and white answer here. There's going to be people who have to put out, say, 100 videos before YouTube starts to trust them and understand that their content is one, high quality, and two, it actually retains people on the platform. But there's also going to be people out there who just get lucky off the bat. And I've experienced this myself with the first channel that I started 6 months ago. I was very fortunate. I did start by posting a bunch of like YouTube shorts just because that was the kind of content that I'd made. It was a travel channel basically, so I'd made some shorts for other platforms, so I just ended up sharing them on YouTube. It was really like low effort because I already had the videos there, and I think that actually helped to train the algorithm as to who my audience was. And I was very fortunate as well that the audience for that specific travel channel, even though it's like a travel channel, it's niched down quite far within the travel niche. So YouTube like pretty much knew off the bat who this type of content was for, and there's not tons of competition. It's not oversaturated, so that put me in a good position to actually get views and impressions sort of out of the gate, really. And I was fortunate in that sense. Whereas with this channel, this like personal brand channel that I'm doing, the idea of this channel is I want to reach creators. I want to reach aspiring creators, people who maybe feel like they've been consuming too much and they want to create more. Or maybe they are already on their creative journey and they're creating content, but they're not quite getting where they want to be. That's who this channel's for. I'm trying to put out educational and motivational content for people like you. Essentially, if you've clicked on this video, you probably fall into that boat. So yeah, it's been totally different with this channel. Obviously, there's a lot more competition. I've not put out as much content on this channel, so the YouTube doesn't trust me. They don't trust this channel yet. And that's what I'm having to do. I'm having to train the algorithm. So essentially, the way YouTube looks at it is established channels are better than new ones. Okay? So established channels are better than new channels. in the algorithm's eyes. So what can we do about this? Because we have to get to that point of being an established channel. And how do you become an established channel when you're not getting any views, when you're not getting any impressions? And just to break it down, if you're still new to the YouTube game or you haven't uploaded anything yet, essentially an impression is when YouTube displays a video on like the home feed or the suggested videos feed. It just displays it as an option for someone to click on. That's an impression. But a view is when someone actually clicks on the video and watches for a certain amount of time. That then qualifies as a view. So you get impressions first. You're always going to have more impressions than views. And then a certain amount of people who see those impressions are going to click and become a view. So just to clarify those two pieces of jargon. So what can we do about this? What can we do about the problem with established channels being more trustworthy and better in the algorithm's eyes? So essentially you have to train the algorithm. It's the only way. It's all you can do is to train the algorithm. And how do we do that? How do we train the algorithm? So it's quite simple. And we all want this easy trick, this easy hack to get loads of views and get loads of impressions and have the algorithm understand who we are. But the answer is a lot more boring and simple than you would think. Essentially, we have to be consistent. So we have to show consistency. We have to upload consistently and show up. And we also have to focus on audience clarity. So what do I mean by that? So you might show up, you might say post a video every single week, like a long form video every single week. But maybe one week you post a video that's like a cooking based video where you're cooking a meal. And then the next video you put up is you talking about finance. And the next video you put up, you're talking about travel. And the next video you're creating a painting. This sends lots of mixed signals to YouTube. Okay, the algorithm is like, okay, this channel is showing up, they're being consistent, great, that's really good. But the audience is all over the place. Like who this content is for is all over the place. Like we don't know, like they're essentially having to look for someone who is really interested in cooking, finance, painting and travel. Like they consume that content all the time, and it's just unlikely. So really what you want to do is you want to be really clear as to who your audience is, who is your content for. Okay, you want to be really specific. Okay, so off the bat, write that down. Understand before you even start showing up, before you start putting content out there, understand who is your target audience. What is your content gonna revolve around? What's the one niche? What's the one theme? Okay, it doesn't have to be super specific. You don't have to, like people say, like niche down. It can be somewhat broad. Let's say it is travel, because travel is really quite broad in a sense, because you've got all sorts of different types of travel and people interested in lots of different travel content. But let's just say you pick travel. At least YouTube now understands, okay, every single piece of content that this person puts out consistently is aimed towards people who are interested in travel. It might not understand yet who within that travel niche or that travel audience is the best person to show that content to, but at least you're sending it a signal that it's in the right ballpark. You're not sending all these mixed signals. So we need to focus on consistency and clarity of audience. That is the first step. And also, you really need to ignore the unicorns. So what do I mean by the unicorns? So you're going to see people who have channels and their first video gets thousands of views. Okay? That happens, but that is not the norm. They are the unicorns. They are the rare species. You can't really replicate that. People having a first video going viral is incredibly rare. And the reason that we look to them as like, oh, but you say just be consistent and show up and have clarity of audience, but I'm still getting no views, I'm still getting no impressions. Look at this person, they just started a channel and they posted their first video and it's got thousands of views. That's because they're getting thousands of views. You're seeing them on your feed, but you're not seeing the hundreds and thousands of new channels that people are uploading on where they're getting no views, because they're not getting any views. They're not getting a chance to be put on your feed. So don't look at that as an excuse, or don't look at that as a way to, focus on just putting out, like, having high expectations and expecting that you're going to put out a piece of content and it's going to go viral. Like, they are the unicorns that just, they're so rare. So let's forget about that. Let's ignore it completely. Also, you're probably tempted when when you're starting out a channel and you're putting out content, you're going to be pumped about it. You're going to be excited. Like, you're going to have some like nervousness there and fear and uncertainty and doubt, but you're now taking that leap of faith. You're crossing over the threshold into the realm of content creation. You're about to make your first video and put it out on YouTube, and you're going to feel pumped and you're going to feel like you want to do every single thing you can to make that video the best it can be. And that's totally an earnest thing to do, but it's maybe not the right thing to do. Okay, let me explain why. So let's say you already have like a following. Let's say you already have some sort of audience on another platform, say it's Instagram or TikTok or some other platform. You could go ahead and put tons of effort into your first video. That's cool, because you're most likely going to be rewarded for it, because you already have an audience. You already have people following you who know you. They're interested in the content that you're putting out on these other platforms. So if you put a lot of effort into your first YouTube video and you say, hey guys, I've started a YouTube channel, come check it out, come check out my first video, that's great. You probably should put as much effort as you can into that video. But for most people, they don't have a following already on other social media platforms. They're starting YouTube and they've got no audience. And YouTube has no idea about you. They don't trust you. They've got no data. So you don't actually want to pour everything into your first video, or into even one video, into your first, like, say at least 10, but maybe even 20, 50, 100 videos. You don't want to pour everything into that video. You really want to manage your expectations, okay? We're looking to find that balance between quality and quantity. We don't want to just churn out content that's really low effort and really low quality just for the sake of showing up and churning out content. But at the same time, we don't want to focus on the highest quality content, because it's going to take so much time, it's going to take so much effort for you to do so. And when you then, let's say you put that first video out and you've spent months working on this video, you've put in so much time and effort, maybe you've spent money on it, and you're like, this thing is amazing, I'm so proud of myself, I love this piece of content, people are gonna go nuts for this. You put it out there and you get 0 impressions. Not 0 views, okay? Remember we spoke about the difference between impressions and views. 0 impressions. YouTube doesn't even show this masterpiece that you've created to anyone. Shows it to nobody. How are you gonna feel? You're gonna feel so dejected. You're gonna feel so demotivated. You're gonna feel burnt out. And how motivated are you gonna be to put the same amount of effort into the next video when this video got 0 impressions? It didn't even get viewed by anyone. So don't fall into that trap, because 0 impressions, not just views, but 0 impressions is super common. It's super common early on, okay? If you've been doing YouTube for like 6 months or a year and you've been consistently, say you're uploading a video every week, and you're still getting 0 impressions, something's wrong. You know, your content is most likely all over the place, and even though you're showing up, there's just not that clarity of audience. YouTube just doesn't understand who to show this to. But 0 impressions is super common early on. So if you put all of your eggs in one basket and you put all of this effort into like your first video or your first bunch of videos, you're going to get burnt out. There's no two ways about it. You're going to hit burnout fast and you're going to hit burnout hard. And that could very well be the end of your YouTube journey. That could put you off YouTube for life, okay? And we don't want that to happen. We want to be in this for the long run. Okay, this is a long-term thing. You have a dream that you're looking to pursue. Let's make sure you actually achieve that dream. So how do we avoid burnout? How do we avoid getting burnt out when we're making our first lot of content? And it's actually really simple. And again, it's really boring. Consistency is better than perfection. Okay, write this down, put this into your brain. Consistency is better than perfection. Okay, we're not aiming to be perfect. We're aiming to be consistent. We're aiming for good enough. That's what we're aiming for. We're not aiming for great. We're aiming for good enough. We want to save our energy. We want to hold back some of those resources that we have. We want to hold back some of that time that we were going to deploy to our first video. We're going to hold back some of that effort that we were going to deploy to our first video. Now, this doesn't mean you're going to make low effort content. You're not going to make slop. You're not going to make like really bad content. We're not going to do that. We're still going to create valuable content, but we're going to make it to a point where it's good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? And this is going to be different for, you know, whatever niche you're targeting, whatever audience, whatever theme you're targeting. There's going to be a general rule of thumb as to like what's good enough. So what do I mean by that? So let's say you're doing like news content. Let's say that you're putting out news. Okay, you're presenting on topical news. Okay, in the zeitgeist, in the mainstream. The barrier, or sorry, the threshold for what is good enough is going to be a lot lower than, let's say, you're putting out like a cinematic travel piece, okay? 2 totally different things, because with news inherently, it's normally gone within like 24 hours or 48 hours. It's out, there's other news there. So it's really just about being quick, getting the news out there, and conveying that to your audience. It's about speed. It's about efficiency. You don't have to have all the bells and whistles. It's about getting that message out there. Whereas it's the polar opposite. If you want to do a really cinematic travel video that immerses someone in this travel experience and they feel like they're watching a movie, you are going to have to put a lot more time and effort into that. But even still, early on, we want to balance those expectations, okay? We want to balance that time and effort. In that case, it may be best to actually put out more low effort content. You're still providing value, but lesser effort content to attract that type of audience, to attract an audience that's into cinematic travel videos, okay? And that could just be like a talking head video like this, where you're maybe discussing the travels that you've been on, and maybe you're using some B-roll, you know, like to convey what you're talking about when you were in this country and then you were in that country, but you've not made the fully fleshed out cinematic travel video yet. You're sort of leading up to that. You're starting to attract the right type of audience that are going to be suitable for that type of content, but we're not doing that right out of the gate. Okay, because that could completely, like, you could just be struck with burnout if you do that, because chances are you're going to get 0 impressions, not views. You're going to get 0 impressions, okay? And I'm experiencing this right now with this channel, okay? So I can tell you that's exactly what happens. And the other channel that I put out, I was fortunate. I can put out a video there and it will get impressions. I guarantee it. But I put a new piece of content out on this channel because it's still new and YouTube doesn't trust me. It's going to get 0 impressions. It's going to take time for them to trust me, okay? And it's the same applies for you. So what you want to do is you want to increase the effort that you're putting into your videos only if you see results. So once you actually start getting views and once you actually start getting engagement, so by engagement, if you're getting people liking the video, if they're sharing the video, if they're commenting on the video, that's fantastic. Those are really good signals and YouTube is going to see those signals as well. Okay, that is starting to build trust, and having views is obviously building trust as well. It's building up data, but we only want to increase the effort if you start to see those results. Okay, we're looking to be consistent. We're looking for longevity here. We're looking to be efficient. Let's say that you start increasing the effort that you're putting into your videos. You're spending more time on all phases, the pre-production, the production, the post-production. You're spending more time on all the skill sets that are required. You're spending more time editing the video, more time choosing the right background music. You're spending more time on the titles, on the thumbnails. That's fantastic. You're increasing your skill set. So let's say you've increased the amount of time and effort and energy that you're putting into your videos now that you're actually starting to get views and engagement. But if that equals no extra reward, so by that, what I mean is if you put, say, twice the amount of time and effort and energy into your next video, but it gets the same amount of views and the same amount of engagement as the previous video within the same time frame, you need to pull back. Okay, you need to pull back. There's no point in you putting in that extra effort unless that's necessary for you to feel good about progressing and you now have a higher standard of quality. That's totally cool. So don't pull back in that sense. If that's really important for you to keep going on your journey, then put in that extra effort. Even though you know you're not going to be rewarded for it, you're rewarding yourself in a sense. You're stroking your own ego in that sense, and that's fine. But understand that by putting in that extra effort and that extra time, you're missing out on growing your channel even more. You're slowing down the growth of your channel, because if you just pulled back and go back to the effort that you were putting in previously and you're getting the same results, you can put out more content. And there is an interesting sort of thing to think about here, is that if you focus on putting out more content, you're essentially putting more reps in. So you're spending more time on camera, you're spending more time editing your videos, you're spending more time writing the scripts or doing the ideation, coming up with the topics that you want to talk about. You're spending more time coming up with different titles. There's more time on the pitch or more time in the game. And that essentially is going to level up your skill set even quicker than if you're putting in extra effort for each video. Okay, you're gonna make more mistakes, you're gonna fail faster, and that's gonna give you the data and the feedback to understand what works and what doesn't. So that's an interesting thing to think about. Even though you might feel like you feel more validated by putting in the extra effort, time and energy, it might not actually be the best thing in the long run. Okay, we're looking for that sweet spot where it's good enough and it meets the standard of that niche, but you're preserving your time for putting out more content, and that's going to give you more time in the game. You're going to have more chances to increase and level up your skill set. So there's a couple of bonus points I want to talk about. When you're receiving low views, so when you start putting out your first pieces of content and you're receiving low views, let's reframe that. Let's not look at low views as a failure, okay? Let's look at low views as data, okay? So every time you put out a video and you don't get a lot of views, you're teaching the algorithm something about your content, okay? So let's say they show your video to 100 people, and let's say 5 of those 100 people that get served your content actually click. and you only get 5 views, so you've got low views, but YouTube now understands, okay, those 5 people that actually clicked on this video for a reason, and of those 5 people, how many of them actually stayed and watched the whole video? How many of them actually engaged with the video, shared it, liked it, commented on it, subscribed? You're teaching the algorithm something about your content and about your channel. So even though you're getting low views, it's still valuable, okay? Let's not look at it as a failure. It's not a failure. It's valuable data that you're giving YouTube, and you're also giving yourself as well as to what works and what doesn't. Carve out your identity as well. So what do I mean by that? By repeatedly posting, it's going to help you find your voice. It's going to help you find your message. It's going to help you understand who your audience is. And you can only really do that by repeatedly posting, by showing up. It's going to help you understand what style works best for you. So with this channel, just to give you an example, when I started this like 2 months ago, I started the channel thinking, okay, I'm going to spend a lot of time in the writing phase, writing about a topic that I want to share. And because I have spent so much time and effort writing this piece, writing this sort of essay, and I'm not the best on camera, like I've not done that a lot, just, like say memorizing the topic I've wrote about and then just winging it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read this word for word from an auto cue. And that's essentially what I did for my first 2 videos. That was the style of it, was me looking at the camera but reading off an auto cue and trying to be natural and all that sort of stuff. And I've changed up the style. Now I'm using bullet points. I have some bullet points here. You see me glancing down here. I'm looking at my bullet points to guide me for this video. And the rest of it is just improv. I'm winging it. I'm talking about the stuff that I know, that I'm passionate about and I want to share with you guys. So I'm changing up the style because I'm putting in the reps. I haven't necessarily put in the amount of reps and been as consistent as I want to be, but of what I have done, I'm now starting to understand that this style, this format that I'm doing, I prefer. And when it comes to editing and looking back at the footage, I think it's actually more valuable. I think it's more authentic. It's like sitting down and having a conversation with you rather than me performing and reading, this whole essay word for word. Like, it's a completely different style. It's a completely different feel. So that's another thing that you can dial down. You can carve out your identity just by being consistent. And also we want to focus on the small wins as well, especially when we're just starting out. So the small wins are going to motivate you, okay? If we track the micro wins, so that could be like better retention, it could be like improved packaging. So by packaging, I mean like your titles and thumbnails. Maybe you've came up with improved titles and thumbnails for your videos compared to when you started. You could look at like, even just having 10 more views than the last time. Like, that's incremental progress. It's small progress, but it's incremental progress. You are growing, you're progressing, and that's great. So focus on those small wins at first. Okay, keep it really simple. Let's lower expectations. Okay, let's track the small things and focus on being consistent. Compare your progress to you. Do not compare your progress to those around you. Compare it to you. You are competing against yourself. You're not competing against everybody else on YouTube. You're not competing against everybody else in your niche. Forget about them. You're competing against yourself. So if you're going to compare your stats, your views, your likes, the amount you're uploading, the quality of them, how good your titles and your thumbnails are, don't compare it to other people. Compare it to you. Compare it to your previous content that you've been putting out there and focus on making it better bit by bit each time you upload. So I'm really interested to hear where you guys are on your YouTube journey. So please do me this favor and comment down below. Where are you on your YouTube journey? Are you thinking about starting a YouTube channel and you've not quite done it? are you already on the train and you're on this YouTube journey? Where are you on that journey? And how many videos did it take you to actually train the algorithm? How many videos did it take you to train the algorithm and start to get impressions? Because it's a slog. I tell you, with this personal brand channel, like I am used to with my travel channel. Now I'm used to putting out a video and getting impressions and getting views straight away. Whereas with this channel, it's a real struggle, not even to get views, but to get impressions. It's a struggle. So a lot of this is very much therapy for myself and motivation for myself to keep me going. And I hope that it's inspiring you guys as well. And just a little quick takeaway, a little data point before I leave you guys. It does improve over time. So when I started my travel channel, it would take anywhere between 3 and 5 days after actually uploading a long form video for me to start getting impressions. You know, I would maybe get like a really, really small amount of impressions because I was really lucky to get like a small, loyal sort of subscriber base from the get-go. But it seemed like YouTube was just showing the video in those first like 1 to 3 days to those subscribers. And then it wasn't until like day 3 to day 5 that it actually started showing the video to other people, because it was taking a bit of a gamble. You know, it was like, this channel's still new. We kind of know who to put this content in front of. We don't have a lot of data to prove that people are actually going to stay and watch the video, but we're going to take a little gamble here. We're going to give this channel a little bit of impressions of new viewers and see how it goes. And luckily for me, that worked out fairly well, to the point where now when I put out a new long form video, it gets impressions straight away. And if I've done a good job, and again, a good job, it's all subjective, because that's another thing that you'll go through where you're like, this video is great, I love this video, it's much better than the previous videos, the title's good, the thumbnail's good, it's gonna do amazing. You put it out there and it just flops, and that's normal as well. It happens because it's all subjective. Sometimes we don't understand what our audience wants, okay, and we make content for ourselves and not for our audience, and it's a kind of two-way street. But that's just a little anecdote for you guys, a little data point, is that now if I do a good job in terms of the audience's eyes and the algorithm's eyes, I will get impressions and I will get views on that channel. On this channel, it's another story, but I'm going to stay consistent. I'm going to put in the reps. I'm going to be clear about who my content is for. And over time, I'm going to train the algorithm, and YouTube is eventually going to know that when I upload a video, it has got a high certainty that that video is going to do really well for a specific audience, and it's going to keep people on the platform, and it's going to keep YouTube in business. They're going to make money. I'm going to get views. My viewers are going to get value. It's a win-win. But in order to build up that trust, it's simple. You've got to put in the consistency, you've got to show up, you've got to be clear about who your audience is, and we've got to lower our expectations and also be mindful of the amount of effort that we're putting into each video. Because if you don't, and you go gung-ho and you put all your eggs in one basket, you're gonna get burnt out. So hope this video was valuable to you. Comment below where you are on your YouTube journey. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.